Beside still waters, beside still waters.
Hi folks, welcome to today's meditation with Isaiah. We are up in the Blue Mountains. I'm at the CMS conference and I thought I would just nip down here to the Three Sisters to let you see this and to just have a different venue in which to record. I'm only going to record part of it here because there are people coming, but it was nice to get a quiet spot. But we're looking at this line, just this one line to memorize. That eat what is good, we've had that, and you will delight in the richest of fare, or I think the old King James had it, your soul will delight in the richest of fare. Now, we'll talk about food in a moment, but man does not live by bread alone. And one of the things I find coming to somewhere like this is that as I look out here, it feeds my soul. The creation speaks of, as Romans 1 says, of the power, the eternal power and divine nature of God. And that's what this is doing. And that feeds us because we thirst and hunger for God. But we need even more than that. So I'm going to go back to Sydney and go back onto the balcony, and we'll continue thinking about this verse there. Okay. We're back on the balcony. It's a gloriously sunny day, and we're continuing to look at this idea of the richest of fare. Now, the Bible itself is described as food. It's described as bread, as honey, as meat, as wine and water and drink and so on. And we need to be fed. And in Isaiah 55, we are being invited to the richest of feasts because we don't live by bread alone. It's funny, I've just been in a Twitter argument with somebody, I think this time about the definition of marriage, and I felt so sad because her definition of marriage was so soulless and so legalistic, and people are just missing out on so much. But in Luke chapter 14, I did want to read you this because I thought this was just such a great parable for us to have. In Luke 14, and verse 16, Jesus says this: "A certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who'd been invited, 'Come, for everything is now ready.'" Now we've seen that in Isaiah 55, haven't we? The great invitation: "Come, all you who are thirsty, come. And you who have no money." But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said, "I've just bought a field and I must go and see it. Please excuse me." Another said, "I've just bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me." Still another said, "I've just got married, so I can't come." The servant came back and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servants, "Go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind and the lame." "Sir," the servant said, "what you ordered has been done, but there is still room." Then the master told his servant, "Go out to the roads and country lanes and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those who are invited will get a taste of my banquet." I remember being the highways and byways mission, which was the great idea of you just go out and invite people in the highways and byways. And I think we've maybe forgotten a lot of that. And I think we're forgetting this, that Jesus invites the poor. Is it wrong to have fine food? I mean, here's a photo of some of the food we had in a Chinese restaurant in Chatswood, which is just behind us there. Is it wrong for Christians to enjoy rich food? Now, I know that gluttony can be a real problem. For me, it can be a real problem. I know that maybe we don't hear it much preached about. I know that rich people can have ridiculously expensive meals. You know, that the masters of the universe in London at one point who spent £60,000 on wine one meal. Or the ridiculous exotic concoctions you get sometimes in the likes of MasterChef and so on. But God has given us taste buds, and I don't think it's wrong for us to enjoy a variety of food. I mean, one of the things I love being in Sydney is just the variety of food that we can get. We enjoy the good things that God has given us, but we seek what I would call food justice, that the food we eat isn't exploiting other people, and also that those who don't have enough, that it's imperative that they be fed. There's other things as well. I mean, I'm just thinking now of how food supplies are being affected by actions that people want to take against climate change, which you can understand that. But again, it's the poor who'll suffer the most. But anyway, maybe that's off the subject. Except this, God doesn't invite the poor as an afterthought. He invites them as a priority, because you can't buy what God is going to give you. Now, there were some other verses I wanted to mention. Psalm 63, for example, and verse 5 says this idea of this feast. I will be satisfied as with the richest of foods. With singing lips my mouth will praise you. Or in Psalm 36 and verse 8, where it says, let me just get it. They feast in the abundance of your house. You give them drink from your river of delights. Or Psalm 81 verse 10 says, open your mouth and I will feed it. And God does give us all things richly to enjoy. Now here particularly, it's not talking about physical food. It's talking about the food that we need for our souls, the food we need emotionally. But I think it also incorporates physical food as well. But here it's primarily talking about this, the food of the Word of God. And I think what Luther said, if you're tired of the Word of God, you're tired of life. That's true. As you saw, I was up in Katoomba earlier, and we heard Vaughan Roberts speak, and it was a rich feast of scriptural food. And that's what we need. I think that our pastors, our preachers are meant to be like chefs, serving up this menu of God's riches from His Word. And remember this, Christ is the bread of life, and we are to feed on Christ. So I'm going to leave you a bit longer today, and I'm going to make it even longer by adding a song on at the end. Dave Henderson and the St. Pete's folks singing, We Will Feast in the House of Zion. Enjoy this, and see you tomorrow. Bye.
We will feast in the house of Zion. We will sing with our hearts restored. He has done great things. We will sing together. We will feast and weep no more. We will not be burned by the fire. He is the Lord our God. We are not consumed by the fire of hell. Protected, gather up. We will feast in the house of Zion. We will sing with our hearts restored. He has done great things. We will sing together. We will feast and weep no more. In the dark of night, before the dawn, my soul be not afraid, for the dawn is morning, know how long Savior be my strength. We will feast in the house of Zion. We